St Johnstone manager Alec Taunton has given Steve Mascray his reward for a fine performance on Tuesday in the Skull Cup quarter-final at Kilmarnock when he was named man of the match. He retains his place despite Alan Moore's suspension being completed. Paul Cherry for Gary McGuinness in midfield is the only change in the side. And Gunni Torfason is Saints' most recent signing. The 30-year-old Icelandic international cost only £90,000 from St Mirren, but already he's repaid that fee by scoring 3 goals in his first 5 matches. And Hibs are without fullback Willie Miller and skipper Murdo MacLeod, so Callum Milne comes in for the only change on the side which drew with Hearts last week, when Keith Wright played wide on the left side of midfield, leaving a striking partnership of Gareth Evans and Darren Jackson. The former Dundee United player had his compensation tribunal fee fixed at £400,000 in midweek. He's still to open his scoring account though in Hibs colours. And it's a day to remember for the referee. Mike Pocock, who's a 34-year-old sales representative from Aberdeen, is handling his first ever Premier Division match, but he's already rated as one of the country's most promising young officials. So ideal conditions as St Johnstone start the match. Both sides with 4 points from their opening 5 matches. Got the pass from Torfason. Here's Mitchell again. Sherry wins the ball for Torfason. It's a fine effort by Torfason. He really does have the eye for goal at the moment. Quickly as possible. A lot of good passes being displayed. That's great play by Weir, away from Macaulay. Now taking on Baltacha into the penalty area. Still Mickey Weir. Fine play by Weir. McGinley's dummy. Very effective. McIntyre to Hamilton. That's for Darren Jackson. A shooting chance is on now. What a fine effort it was by Jackson. Here's Jackson. Here's Evans. And a fine save by Andy Rhodes. Well, Andy Rhodes at his best, but it was a way which Evans turned on the ball and held off McClelland, which set up the opportunity for Rhodes to show his ability. It was fine play though from Hibs. A clash there off the ball involving Paul Wright and Tommy McIntyre, and the referee will take action against McIntyre as they were both running back. McIntyre appeared to trip Paul Wright. There's been a little bit of needle between Paul Wright and his former Hibs teammates. Darren Jackson trying to turn away from Ingles. Well, certainly playing with lots of determination and fire, Darren Jackson. He is involved in the last action of a very competitive and evenly balanced first half, but still looking for that elusive first goal. He couldn't have come much closer than he did in that first half when he was sent clean through for a shot at goal which came off the outside of Andy Rhodes' post. So at half-time at McDairmid Park, St Johnstone 0, Hibs 0. Hibs certainly the edge in matches between the clubs last season. 2 wins, a draw and 1 defeat only. Hamilton to Milne, made a very good run off Torfason. Right back to Milne. That was great play. Well, Callum Milne's had a very good match for Hibs so far, and that would have capped it. Playing it in early this time. Baltacha in the way. This time Keith Wright quite content to earn a corner kick. Sherry making the challenge. A little short by Weir this time. Oh, he's away from Curran. It's a good ball inside. A header by Tommy McIntyre. And Hibs are in front. McIntyre again for Hibernian. His first goal of the season. And what a fine goal it was, down to the wing wizardry and a bit of luck here for Mickey Weir. That was the luck, but then he had the presence of mind to look up and fire over a lethal cross, which just required a touch from McIntyre. Here's Torfason. Well, the angle was very tight indeed. Moore. Right to Curran, he's onside. That's the equaliser. Macaulay is onside. The flag is up against Sean Macaulay, I think. Bill Innes, the linesman. Well, what a setback that is for St Johnstone. Sean Macaulay's enthusiasm carrying him forward there. There was no flag for Harry Curran when the ball went in there. Great bowling by Wright. There was no flag at this point, but there's the player who's off. Paul Wright is in beyond. The chance is on this time. And a penalty kick has been given. Paul Wright barged down by Tommy McIntyre. There could be no argument about that. Referee Mike Pocock giving a decision instantly. A very good ball by Macaulay. And Wright got in the blind side there of McIntyre. And there was the push, which results in the penalty kick. McIntyre is in serious trouble here. He was booked in the first half, and he's going to be ordered off to complete the misery of the moment for Hibs. He was the last defender. He denied Paul Wright a clear goal-scoring opportunity. He is going to be ordered off. Wow, what a very sad moment for the Hibs defender who scored the opening goal. He's conceded the penalty kick, and his involvement in the match is over. And Paul Wright has the chance to take this penalty kick and equalise for St Johnstone. He scored 1 out of 2 this season so far. Perfectly struck. St Johnstone back in level terms, and Paul Wright scores his 7th goal of the season. There was no answer here. Perfectly placed, right into this is Finlay. Interest right to the last minute of the match. Here's Billy Finlay. Weir makes a run. Sets up space for Keith Wright. Could he win the match with this? Time which referee Pocock decides is appropriate to add on, and there's no more of that. The final whistle goes and brings to an end a thoroughly entertaining, competitive match. And I reckon with final scoreline, which is just about fair. Hibs taking the lead through that fine header by Tommy McIntyre in 59 minutes. And then the penalty kick conceded by McIntyre, which saw his departure early from the fray. And Paul Wright drilling home the penalty kick, which gives St Johnstone a point, which I reckon they just about deserve. It's St Johnstone 1, Hibernian 1.
Well, Murdo, what's the feeling in the Hibs dressing room? Is that a point gained or a point lost?
Well, we feel it's a point lost. We played superb for about an hour. We made a lot of really good chances. St Johnstone weren't in the game. And then after we scored the goal, we seemed to lose our discipline slightly. And then it amounted to losing the penalty kick.
You certainly did appear to be exposed badly at the point when the penalty kick was conceded defensively.
Yeah.
Was there a problem at that stage?
No, not really. I think it was just lack of concentration. We've all been ball watching, walking towards the ball, and they played the ball over the top.
Alec, Murdo McLeod thought that Hibs were unlucky not to win the game. How do you feel about that?
I would agree with that. I think Hibs dominated for long spells, really. That's probably the poorest we've played this season, out of 9 games. But to be fair, we had a very hard game on Tuesday night against Kilmarnock in the Skull Cup, whereas Hibs had a free week. But they played well, certainly, and we were sitting to too many balls as far as I was concerned.
There was a problem for you early in the second half. At the point when Hibs scored, it looked as though they might go on and win handsomely. Was there some concern when you made the substitutions and changes?
Well, I think nowadays, Jock, the game's all about 13 players, not 11 players. You know, and I say Hibs played well, they created space well. But having said that, I think Andy Rhodes had only two saves to make, 2 good saves, even though Hibs played well. But I say disappointing because at home you're looking to win games at home.
Andy, it's very early in your St Johnstone career, but how do you feel generally about your move here?
Great, excited about it. We're sitting in a Skull Cup semi-final and comfortable in the middle of the table there. Probably should have been a few points better off than that, but you know, it's gone well so far.
Of course, you're playing against Hibs today, who give you some memories from last season, do they not?
That's right, yeah, they stuffed me with 12 goals last year. But fortunately, Wrighty didn't score one today. He got 6 past me last year, but he didn't get one today, so that's a good omen for us.
How did you feel about the performance today generally in terms of St Johnstone's inability to win the match at home?
It's probably the worst we've played this season, to be fair. Maybe we've had a few games and the lads are a bit jaded. We had a tough game at Kilmarnock midweek there. But our passing let us down a little bit first half today, and we weren't getting close enough, we weren't tight enough. And the lads saying after the end of the game there, they felt, you know, maybe we were a little bit fortunate to come out of the game with a point, because it is probably the worst we've played this season.